I'd like to tell you about my experience with community health clinics and community health services. I feel like every person should have a right to free health care, and we should all get the same standard of care regardless of our ability to pay, because health care should be a human right. I've told a lot of people that. I think it's immoral and it's inhumane not to give every person health care. Every person, regardless of citizenship status or what religion, nationality, or origin that they have, socioeconomic status, any status, anything. Nothing should matter except the fact that you're a human being when you go to get health care. And nobody should have to pay for it. This is something that should be universal for every person. A universal health care for everybody. Anybody who tells you that it's going to cost more is full of shit. They're a liar. That's all there is to it. I saw today a political advertisement go out for John Cornyn, and he's talking about how a single-payer healthcare system would cost more, or you'd have a lower quality of service. He's a liar. He is. To say that is not just a manipulation of the truth. For him to say that or support that notion, just like the other Republicans do, it's an outright lie. It is. And I know how this will be perceived. I'm not against the Democrats or the Republicans. But when they're telling people stuff like that, that's just garbage. The stuff that they're telling people, what they're saying to people, all this stuff is just based on, some insurance company is lobbying them because they want to keep insurance being paid at a very high rate. They want premiums to cost $600 or $700 a month per person. And nobody can afford that. There's very few people who can afford that in the middle class or in the lower class. And if you're upper middle class, you can just barely afford it. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. The cost of health care in the United States has been spiraling out of control for a long time. But what I've seen at community health clinics is that they're usually based out of small buildings that aren't kept up, and the providers may take 4 to 6 weeks to get you in for an appointment, maybe even longer in some cases. They're generally rude to the people that come in. They can throw arbitrary requirements on you, like, in this case during COVID-19, I was told that 2 of my children could not enter the clinic with me under any circumstances. Social distancing, masks, didn't matter, because they were so concerned that the children were going to be a vector for the illness. And I said, that's ridiculous. That's outright discrimination. 2 clinics, one in Bell County, one in Coryell County. But I told them, look, I'm going to leave a review based off of this. I am. Because it's wrong for them to tell anybody that. During the pandemic, a lot of people are unemployed. They don't have any income. They can't afford child care. And everybody is deserving of health care services as a human being. They're going to make health care a human right. Watch. I've been pushing for that with Bernie Sanders, and I absolutely think that should be the case, and it will be. Within 5 to 10 years, probably much sooner, if we can get a Democratic majority, or a majority at least that's in favor of that legislation. I know all the Republicans are going to be opposed to it, because they get so much in kickbacks and campaign finance support from lobbyists and private insurers like, probably Aetna, Blue Cross. I don't even know. The list goes on. It's just so long. But the whole thing is that it's all about money. It's politics. And you got to look to see who's getting money from who. Anytime you see some information like that go out, like a mailer. But I got better care from Planned Parenthood than I did from 2 of the community health clinics who denied me service because I had my children with me. And not only did they deny me service, but they were rude to me. one of the physicians, the guy who was overseeing the clinic, actually told me that I did not have any rights while on clinic property. And this was a free clinic, although sometimes you had to pay a copay for the medication. I didn't even get in the front door. And this guy spoke so rudely to one patient that she actually burst into tears, according to one of her reviews. But it's terrible what's going on out there. It is. And people like that, they need to be stopped. Those providers need to be stripped of their license, because they think that just because you can't pay, you don't deserve respect. You know, they mistreat you because you're on the system for welfare, or you're on what they call the entitlement system. These people are victims. Most of the time, they're victims of the circumstances that they're in. They don't choose to be poor most of the time. Some of their choices might contribute to them being poor, but it doesn't make them poor to start out. You know, there's usually familial circumstances, and there's health problems. All kinds of stuff can happen that can set you back like that, to where you have to depend on community resources. It sucks, but that's how it is. And you know, I went to Planned Parenthood to get testing after my wife passed away, because I wanted to make sure I didn't have any health problems because of, you know, the lifestyle that she was practicing. I was so fortunate not to have any health concerns. I swear, I was so thankful. I'll tell you what. But it's just, I think I had to pay for discounted services at Planned Parenthood. I paid about $175 for testing, approximately, for everything, for all the conditions, everything they had on their panel. And those services at the other clinics, they didn't even know if they offered them. I called them on the phone. They said that they did at one of them. And then I got there, and they wouldn't even allow me inside, even though I told them what the situation was and how acutely bad my situation had been, what my circumstances were. The provider at one of the clinics had absolutely no compassion. He was the rudest, meanest physician I've ever met in my life, and I've met dozens of them. And that's really saying something. But the care that people are getting at those community health clinics a lot of the time is absolutely shit. It's just terrible, the way they're being treated. I'm not talking about Planned Parenthood either. I had a great experience with them. They showed empathy and compassion. Even though I was paying on a sliding scale and I got, you know, a discount, I'm really, truly grateful to them for what they did. I know a lot of people are opposed to abortion, but a lot of those young women are coming out of circumstances where they've been victims of things like rape or incest, and that's what they don't tell you. They catch some flack going in the front door of the clinic, you know, and it's completely unacceptable what they have to go through.